BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
European far-right figures are increasingly mirroring Donald Trump's stance, with a growing chorus calling for the anti-fascist movement, known as Antifa, to be officially designated as a terrorist organization. This trend gained significant momentum following a post on Trump's Truth Social platform last month, where he declared that the United States would label Antifa, a decentralized anti-fascist movement, a major terrorist organization. The repercussions of this declaration were swift, with international allies of Trump quickly following suit. On the very same day as Trump's announcement, the Dutch parliament, where the far-right PVV, led by Geert Wilders, holds the largest number of seats, passed a resolution. This resolution explicitly acknowledged the U.S. decision and urged the Dutch government to officially declare Antifa a terrorist organization within the Netherlands. Shortly thereafter, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, a figure often seen as an inspiration for Trump, publicly stated that his country would adopt a similar approach. The movement then extended into the European Parliament, where a member of the European Parliament from the Flemish Nationalist Party Vlaams Belang drafted a resolution with the identical request. Tom van den Driesch, the MEP in question, announced last week that his proposed text had garnered the support of 79 MEPs hailing from 20 different countries. In a video shared on the social media platform X, underscored by ominous music, van den Driesch characterized Antifa as an international network that is supported, financed, and protected by the system to fight the nationalist opposition with violence. This echoed a recent development where Donald Trump himself signed an executive order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. However, experts offer a distinctly different characterization of Antifa, describing it not as an organized entity but rather as a loosely defined identity-based movement lacking any discernible leaders or formal membership structure. While its roots can be traced back to Europe, Antifa gained broader public attention in the United States in the aftermath of Trump's election in 2016. Jessica White, the acting director of terrorism and conflict studies at the Royal United Services Institute, commented to The Guardian that Antifa is not what I would call an identifiable group or organization, but a movement, perhaps. She further elaborated that, on the basis of that lack of clear definition, I think it's very challenging, if not counterproductive, to try and designate it. White also suggested that security services would find the least amount of value in such a designation, as usually what I've seen is that it is much easier to reach a verdict and a prosecution based upon focusing on the actual acts of violence. She expressed a significant concern that such designations could be exploited in a politically motivated way to target people that are seen as opponents to a more right-wing political government. The Hungarian government has asserted that Antifa, which it labels a left-wing terrorist organization, poses a significant threat to its citizens. Notably, the EU's law enforcement agency, Europol, does not use the term Antifa within its recent terrorism situation and trend report, a document that was referenced in the far-right European Parliament resolution. Europol's report, based on data from 14 countries excluding Hungary, documented 21 attacks attributed to left-wing or anarchist violent extremism in 2024. The vast majority of these attacks, which occurred primarily in Italy and Greece, were directed at property. Hungarian government spokesperson Zoltán Kovács has claimed that Antifa members have been responsible for brutally beating people in the streets, and while some have faced legal proceedings, those who did not flee justice for the European Parliament have received their due. This statement alludes to Ilaria Salis, an Italian activist who, following her election as an MEP in 2024, was released after nearly 16 months of detention in Hungary. She had been accused of assaulting individuals perceived to have far-right sympathies. Balázs Orbán, the Hungarian Prime Minister's political director and no relation to Viktor Orbán, has identified Salis as a far-left Antifa activist. This week, Salis narrowly avoided a bid by the Hungarian government to strip her parliamentary immunity, as MEPs voted by a single vote to reject Budapest's request. Salis maintains her innocence and asserts that she would not receive a fair trial in Hungary, a country where legal experts have long voiced concerns about the compromised state of the rule of law. She conveyed to The Guardian that Hungary's application of the term Antifa serves as a method of stigmatizing whoever dissents, whoever doesn't agree with the regime. She defiantly stated, "If being anti-fascist means dissenting with his regime, of course I am an anti-fascist." Martin Scherdwan, co-leader of the far-left group in the European Parliament, which comprises Germany's Die Linke, France Unbowed, and Solace's Greens and Left Alliance Party, argues that criminalizing an anti-fascist group simply plays the tune of the far right. He contends that such actions are restricting freedom of opinion and represent ultimately an attack on democracy itself. The concerted focus on Antifa emerges as another unifying cause between Donald Trump and his European counterparts. Paweł Zerka, a senior policy fellow at the European Council on Foreign Relations, highlights that Trump has served as a significant source of inspiration for Europe's burgeoning right-wing movements, who are increasingly inclined to replicate his culture war tactics within their own national contexts. In a recent report, Zerka posited that Trump and the American MAGA movement are actively engaged in a culture war across Europe, aggressively promoting ideological allies on the continent and seeking to diminish the stature of European leaders on the global stage. The report suggests that Trump lends credibility, framing, and coherence to Europe's new right, influencing figures from Orbán in Hungary to Marine Le Pen, leader of France's National Rally, and provides essential infrastructure, encompassing conferences, media outlets, financiers, and think tanks that actively supports the formation of